Van Kimanzi,
Mr. O to the G, Calligraph Jones,
Jackie Vicky,
Solomon Wangwe,
Jina ni Abel Mutua,
Judy Nyuera,
Ben Psycho.
And my name is Wanjiru.
Nimejita Crazy Kena bwana hadi nikasahau jina langu.
In the streets they call me superstar, in the sheets they call me baby.
Hapo sawa, shika hizi sasa.
Excuse me, madam.
Ni nini?
Kabisa.
we have been subjected to some incriminating questions.
Wenda huko, unakuja kuniambia excuse kitu gani? Why?
Wewe. Na maswali ni zile za bank.
Right.
We good, we rolling?
Hola, good evening. Good evening to you all. It's now 7:01 p.m. Thursday, the 3rd of August, 2023. Thank you so much for joining us as always for our weekly live event Q&A session, in case you're wondering. So send your questions in. If I'm a new face to you, my name is Solomon Wangwe. I am the founder and managing director of Goshen Acquisitions Limited and its wholly owned subsidiary Grand Acres. So, and in case you're wondering who that is, we're just the best land sellers in Kenya. So if you have questions about us, check out our website, www.grandacres.co.ke or www.goshenacquisitions.com, and you'll get to be introduced to who we are and what we do. And there's tons of content on all our social media platforms, from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. So welcome all to today's live session. Ezra, I see you. Thank you for tuning in. Ahadi group, as always, you guys are awesome. If you know someone, friend, family, someone you like, love, and respect, who would like to be part of this live session, please share the link. Make sure you like them, because we only like or want good vibes. Share widely so that as many people as possible are blessed by the conversation we're going to have. So, as always, let's get started with your questions. Don't hold back. Don't be shy. We'll be happy to answer if we have the answer. If we don't, I'll tell you that we don't, and I'll get you the answer from the right person. Okay, so here we go. From TikTok, 000. From TikTok, thank you 000 for joining today. You guys hiring interns? Not actively, no, but we're not opposed to considering it. So if you think you have what it takes to be a super special and awesome person at Grand Acres, reach out, send your CV, and we'll see if we can make space for you. That helps? Thanks for asking. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Are we on TikTok today? Yeah? Are we streaming on TikTok? Okay. I'm not talking to myself, guys. I have a team here with me in the background. You can't see them, but it takes a team to get this thing done. So if you hear me talking like I'm talking to myself, not so, I'm not crazy. I have people here. So send in your questions, and we'll see how to answer. Only one question so far? Man, you guys are shy today. Here we go. James Mwangi from TikTok. Hi, James. Thank you for tuning in. Your question is, where do we send the CV? You can send the CV to WhatsApp number 0700010001. I'll repeat that. 0700010001. And someone from the team will reach out to you with further instructions or communication. Okay, so send your CV to the WhatsApp number 0700010001. That's the easiest way or the easiest place for me to direct you to at this particular session. So if you're interested in being an intern and you think you have what it takes, you have to be extraordinary, passionate, hungry to grow and hungry to succeed. Those are the first pre-qualifications, and we'll see if you fit. Okay, thank you for that question. We have another one here from YouTube. What's your fix with Lavinia and Cheryl? Hi, Solomon. Hi. I had a question from Tuesday that was not answered. Can one own property with a spouse who is not Kenyan? Sorry, Lavinia, that we didn't get to answer your question on Tuesday, and thank you for tuning in again today. So the second part to your question is, what does one need? Yes, it's possible for one to own property in Kenya with a spouse who is not a Kenyan citizen, only on condition that the property is leasehold. I hope you know what that means, because we've talked about this up and down, sideways for I don't know how long. But just to clarify, there are two kinds of property tenures in Kenya: freehold and leasehold. So freehold by law can only be owned by Kenyan citizens. There's no wiggle room there. And leasehold can be owned by both Kenyan citizens as well as non-Kenyans or foreigners. So as long as the property is leasehold, you can own it with a spouse who is not Kenyan. Hope that helps. Okay. And in terms of what one needs, usual documents, identification, national identification card, Kenya Revenue Authority PIN number, an address, physical or postal address as well will be necessary. I presume you have scouted, you know what your goals are, you like the property, you like the owner, you negotiated, agreed on the terms, and you have a licensed advocate of the High Court of Kenya, a conveyancing lawyer, preferably, to help you, because it's not something you want to do on your own, and you're in business. Okay, so hopefully that helps, and happy investing to you. Thanks for that question, Lavinia. Anne Buru says, hi, Anne watching from the UK. Wow, thanks, Anne, for watching from the UK. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to ask, in case you're not in Kenya, or in Nairobi, I should say, please just drop us a line saying what city, state, or country you're in. It's really cool for us to know where all our listeners and live participants are tuning in from. That will be very helpful. And your question continues. I came across your YouTube videos in 2020. Too much time on our hands at the time, of course. My question is, how does one become a shareholder of Goshen and Grand Acres? That's possibly the first time I have been asked that question. So, we at the moment are not floating shares for others to invest in yet. We are currently a fully privately owned enterprise. From time to time, we do joint ventures with specific partners, landowners, financiers, and that sort of thing. But we never get into share sales and equity sales, at least not yet. But when that time comes, hopefully soon, you will hear about it. If it's something you're really keen on or serious to follow up on, please send us your contacts, DM us, or send us your contacts on WhatsApp, and I will reach out to you specifically. We can side chat on that and figure out how to put you on a waiting list for when we are ready for that. That's an awesome question. Thank you for asking. And next question is from Zen's twin, Wendo, from TikTok. Hi, Wendo. Thank you for tuning in. You say, I heard that currently it's so hard to acquire land. How true is this? Wendo, that is not true at all. At least not from my experience. I'm not sure why it would be hard to acquire land currently. We just sold out on 2 projects. And we've also just purchased some new inventory in Laikipia County, and we continue to sell. So from my experience, that is not true. Okay, maybe you can give me some more details. It might be related to a specific event. Then maybe we can address it from that point of view. But thank you for your question nonetheless. DKKE from TikTok, thank you for tuning in, DK. You say land buying question requires trust. How different are you? Yes, land buying does require trust. I mean, every transaction in human history between people requires trust as a basic currency. If you don't trust someone, there's no way to transact or interact or even be friends or even to be associated, right? So yes, trust is necessary. We agree. How different are we? We are extremely different. DKKE, I'm guessing from your question that we are new or strangers to you. A good way to determine whether or not you can trust someone in the first place is do your due diligence on them, do a background check, Google them, see what comes up, read up on them, get references from other individuals or institutions, that sort of thing. We are not different. Just go to our website, look at our testimonials, look at the context of all our content. It's deep and historical. We've been doing this for 11 and a half years now. And by God's grace, we shall be doing it for another 100 years plus. Yeah, and if you want to come pay us a visit to the office and have a chat about whatever it is you're thinking about, what you might be concerned about, we're happy to host you. Just give us a call, make an appointment, and hopefully you'll be on your way to establishing trust with us, and we will be so honored. Okay? Thank you for that question. Viral food videos, you say, from YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, please take us through the process of subdividing land. Apart from what is in your checklist, what else should one look for? Well, viral food videos, our checklist is quite thorough, okay? There's hardly anything else from your point of view as a buyer. So if you're asking me what the process is if you are the one subdividing land, that's a different conversation, okay? And it's too long for me to take you through on this live session. We will not be able to answer a single other question after this one. So if you like, DM us, let us know how best we can reach you. I can take you through that one-on-one on a call or something. We can even record that conversation and post it for everyone else with your permission, of course. But other than what is on the checklist, I think you would be covered unless, like I said, you're asking as a landowner looking to subdivide yourself. Hope that helps. Thank you for that question. Michael Wechuli, 165 from TikTok. Thank you for tuning in, Michael. You say, Hello, is there a freehold land in Nairobi? What makes it take long for one to get the title deed within Nairobi? Yes, there are freehold lands in Nairobi, as with everywhere else in the country. Actually, most of the country is freehold. Um, Fewer in Nairobi than you'll find in other non-urban areas, obviously, but yes, there is freehold land in Nairobi. And in terms of what makes it take long for one to get a title deed within Nairobi, it depends on all sorts of factors. Number one, it depends on whether or not you're doing it on your own or you have help, like a licensed advocate to assist. If you do have one, are they diligent about following up with the registry? Because work ethic is specific to the individuals or the law firms. Some are more efficient than others, simple fact. Um, that's a contributing factor. Another one is any delays beyond anyone's control relating to the government service offerings at the Ministry of Lands. From time to time, especially in Nairobi, RDD House, the headquarters of the Ministry of Lands and the main registry in the country, has been shut down for one reason or another. Either it's digitization or whatever. Usually it's digitization of land records, but invariably those will delay or interfere with titling processes. So there's different things that would make it take long. Okay, so I always advise people, make sure that you're aligned with your advocate who's helping you. Number one, get yourself an advocate. Unless you have time to be going back and forth between wherever you are and RD House on a daily basis to follow up on a document, not worth the time wasting. Get an advocate that you like, who is aligned with you in terms of the timeframes you require things to be done. Make sure that they're diligent. You will know very quickly if they are or not, even just from the way they present themselves. And if they prove to be slow after you engage them, fire them quickly, replace them, get another one. Don't allow external factors to interfere unless it's a force majeure. Force majeure is a legal term for unforeseen circumstances beyond anyone's reasonable control, like COVID shutdowns, the building burns, or whatever, right? So I hope that helps. But get yourself a licensed advocate to assist you. It's a lot more efficient, and make sure that you're aligned with them. Okay, awesome question. Wambui Gottslick, I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for tuning in, Wambui. I believe you're tuning in from Facebook. And you state the following: I am about to buy land. Which documents should I ask for, except for the title deed? I once watched a video which you said a title deed is not the most important document. Watching from Germany. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Deutschland. Well, yes, it is true. The title deed is indeed the least important document in a property transaction in Kenya. In fact, I controversially titled my video, "Why the Title Deed is the Most Useless Document in a Land Transaction." I'm saying the same thing. I just chose a title that would wake people up, and it is a fact. Okay, it's not something I made up. This is factual. There are more important documents than a title deed, like green cards, white cards, registry index map, any form of cadastral map that you have to use to do your due diligence or identify the land on the ground in its situation, mutation forms, land control board, letters of consent, all manner of documents, including county approval documents if it was subdivided, the user was changed, so on and so forth. In terms of what else you need besides a title deed, Wambui, please do yourself a favor. Go to our website right now. It's www.grandacres.co.ke. should be scrolling somewhere down here. If you're watching on Facebook, again, it's www.grandacres.co.ke. Find the tab that says checklist or Grand Acres checklist and download it. It's absolutely free. It's a resource we prepared for anyone out there who wants a checklist, a guide on how to go through the process of buying land or property in Kenya from step 1 to 9. It covers all the necessary documents you need to make sure that you're doing a clean and safe transaction. Okay. If you have any questions after reviewing and working with the checklist, reach out and we'll be happy to help, but you shouldn't. If you follow every step from 1 to 9, it'll be virtually impossible for you to have issues with your land buying process. Okay? And wishing you grand acres, as we say here at Grand Acres. Okay? Abdul Fahd Magan Abdile from Facebook. Thank you for tuning in, Abdul Fahd. What is the process of verifying the title deed? Wow. You're basically asking me what is the process of due diligence. And just like I advised Wangwe a few seconds ago, please go to our website, grandacres.co.ke. Get yourself the free copy of the Grand Acres checklist. If you're having issues downloading it for some reason, send us a message on our WhatsApp number 0700010001. Again, that's 0700010001, and we'll figure out why you're having issues downloading it. It has every single step for verifying a title deed. Okay, but as a summary, first thing I would advise you to do is hire yourself a licensed advocate of the High Court of Kenya. They have to be licensed. How do you know they are licensed? They will provide you a license or a certificate from the Law Society of Kenya issued for this current year. They have to apply for that license every year. So if they show you one for 2022, don't waste your time. Ask them to pay their license fee and update. Otherwise, you'd be exposing yourself to serious liability should you make any material decisions based on the work they do that causes you to lose because you worked with an advocate who is not licensed to practice for this year. So make sure they're licensed. Number 2, make sure that they specialize in conveyancing. Ideally, I mean, most lawyers understand conveyancing on a basic level, but most serious law firms will have specific departments for different aspects of law and legal advice. And if you're dealing with a big law firm, find whoever is the head of real estate, because conveyancing law is very specific. It's different from litigation. It's different from succession law and all that other stuff. So make sure you're dealing with one who has experience, ideally one who is passionate about conveyancing, which is commercial and property law. Okay? Then after that, follow all the steps in the checklist, including meeting the owner, asking for the identification documents. Your lawyer will cross-reference those with the Registrar of Persons, KRA, and so on and so forth, because you can even do a search on an ID, on someone's ID. Most people don't know that, but you can and you should, especially if you're risking capital to buy a property. Get yourself a licensed surveyor to determine that the condition on the ground, the location of the land, its boundaries are uncontested. It's not encroaching on any road reserves or riparian lands. A good surveyor will even do a report that tells you about the history of that land. Was it hived off of public land or contested land? Was it listed in the Ndungu report? So on and so forth. These are all things that you do to make sure that you're dealing with a legitimate title deed. And it's virtually impossible for you to do that on your own. Hire yourself licensed professionals, beginning with the advocate, who will also help you referee or manage or do engagement letters with all the other professionals, like your surveyor, like your valuer, for instance, if you need to get a valuation done because you're borrowing from a bank, all these have to be coordinated to make sure that you're dealing with legitimate properties and the title deed is okay. So, long answer to your question, and I'll leave it there. Do yourself a favor, download the free checklist, Grand Acres Checklist, 9 steps to safe land buying in Kenya, and you'll be fine. Thank you for that question. Mr. GYW, aka Mr. Grow Your Wealth from TikTok. I like that. Mr. Grow Your Wealth. Awesome. What is the essence of free site visit? Are they a basis of being hoodwinked? What is the essence of a free site visit? I guess the essence is not to charge you for visiting the site. We at Grand Acres and Goshen Acquisitions do not charge for site visits, for instance. Why? Because we don't think you need to pay to consider purchasing land from us. If you're going to buy the piece of land, the cost of your site visit is accounted for, particularly if we're the ones managing the logistics, picking you up, transporting you to site, maybe getting you some snacks or water along the way, whatever the case may be. Every company is different. Many of us today will not charge for site visits, and there's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I would never pay for a site visit, ever. I think it's a privilege for anyone to have me come over to look at their land to consider buying it. I shouldn't have to pay. I mean, do you pay to go to the supermarket to shop? No. If you're getting yourself there, that's on you. You get there and you buy what you need and you're out. I don't think buying land is any different. If you want to bring yourself, well and good, but if we're transporting you and not charging, there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the customer experience, customer service. So I'm not sure what your concern is there in terms of free site visits, and are they a basis of being hoodwinked? Maybe, I guess you have to investigate that. Feel the energy when you're interacting with them during the free site visit. Above all else, follow the checklist. Okay, 9 steps to safe land buying in Kenya. It's absolutely free. Go to the website, as I have already stated to the other two, grandacres.co.ke. It will be virtually impossible for you to get conned or hoodwinked if you follow those steps, regardless of whether or not a site visit is free or paid for. It shouldn't matter. Okay? Hope that helps. That's a difficult one. Uniaki Craft, am I saying that right? Uniaki Craft from TikTok. Thank you for tuning in. That's a difficult name. Do you have land for sale in Eldoret? Currently, we do not. But as always, we're always scouting new opportunities all over the country. Should something come up, we would let you know. We'll advertise it as we always do. And hopefully it'll be something that you like. Thank you for that question. And in case you're wondering what else we might have available, please check out our website, www.grandacres.co.ke, and you'll see exactly what we have as far as inventory is concerned. Meditating, relaxing from YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. And your question is there a reason why there is not that much land in central part of Kenya? It is so beautiful, but finding large parcels of land is difficult. You're absolutely right, meditating, relaxing. Central Kenya doesn't have very much in terms of large parcels of land, mostly because of the population density. They are many. wako wengi. Central Kenya, most populous ethnic group, the Kikuyus predominantly. So therefore, there's little land left because it's been subdivided from generation to generation to give each individual in every successive generation their piece of land. So that's the primary reason. It's that simple. I should mention historically in terms of context, the Kikuyu community as an ethnic group were probably the most adversely affected ethnic group in Kenya in colonial times. For some reason, the colonialists preferred the lands that were ancestral to the Kikuyu community, and many of them got pushed out. Okay, and we still have vestiges of that land distribution today, in some contexts. And so I think that is what triggered the migration of Kikuyu community outside their traditional ancestral zones. You'll find Kikuyus in Kajiado, you'll find Kikuyus in Oloitoktok, you'll find Kikuyus in Bungoma, you'll find them in Arusha, you'll find them all the way in northern Kenya at the coast. Kikuyus are everywhere. So one of the things I love about the Kikuyu ethnic community actually is that they have no issues settling anywhere, in pursuit of their God-given right for happiness and wealth building, providing a living for themselves and their children. And so I think that initially got triggered by the colonial activity, and they are also the most populous. They multiply, they are fruitful, and so by virtue of that, a lot of their land is shared by more people than with other ethnic communities. So that's why. I hope that helps. And you also say that you're in the UAE, which is awesome. And you also ask, what is in the completion documents? I saw this in checklist from Abel Mutua. Yeah, so completion documents is a legal term used for a set of documents that you as a purchaser will require from the seller to provide you before the transaction is completed, hence the term completion documents. They will include, of course, your original title deed to the property. It will include certified identification documents from the seller. If it's a company, certified identification documents of the company as well as its directors individually. It'll include land control board consents, letters of consent, and the accompanying application form. It'll include registry index maps. If you ask for it, it's typically not there, but we always advise people to include it because RIMs are more important than your title deed. There's a fact, there's no value in owning a title deed to a property that cannot be identified on a government cadastral map as a final mapping authority to prove that it exists physically within the boundaries of the Republic of Kenya, okay? So by that virtue, RIMs, in my opinion, are way more important than the actual title deed. It will also include documents like mutation forms, and any other documents you feel that you need to have comfort around your acquisition. That is what is typically called completion documents. Also transfer forms, obviously. You need the transfer forms for the government to effect the movement of ownership from your seller to yourself. And they have to be executed fully by the seller. And of course, as by yourself, passport photos, blah, blah, blah. These are all stipulated by your advocate, which is why we always tell people, start by hiring yourself a licensed advocate of the High Court of Kenya. It's a lot easier, they know what to do, and you can use our checklist as a guide, okay? And I'm happy to hear that you already have a copy or you've seen a copy of the checklist. We did a version with Mukuru checklist, which was a super fun project. And I promise you, if you follow each one of those 9 steps, virtually impossible for you to get caught. Happy investing to you. I see a question here from Washu. Washu Ndirangu. Washu, we've missed you. Where have you been? It's been like 2 months since we saw you on our live. I know you're okay because we've been chatting on WhatsApp, but we've missed you on the Facebook Live. Thank you for tuning in. Your comment is yes and yes to completion documents. Otherwise, your title, GWK, 100% true. And what she would know because she's a land buyer, a very serious one, I should say. Okay. Gale Nefele from TikTok. I hope I pronounced that right. Gale Nefele from TikTok. Thank you for tuning in. Your question is, do you take payments in crypto? Wow, crypto. We have never received payments in crypto. That's a very interesting question. Maybe we should consider taking payments in crypto, especially if it's Bitcoin. Let's wait and see. There's a lot of rumors about the central digital coins, central bank digital coins, CBDCs, that are supposedly being worked on secretly by faceless powers globally. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories around that. Some comments have been made by very distinguished personalities as well about the probability of this happening in the near future, where the entire global financial system overnight will be flipped from paper currency to digital currency. If that is true, we will have no choice but to accept digital currencies, probably including crypto. But as for the time being, no. I suppose we would probably have issues explaining to the taxman that we received Bitcoin for a piece of land. How do you prove that? Because of the requirement to prove documentation for all banking transactions. At some point, we would have to convert the crypto into fiat currency and deposit it in the bank. What are we going to prove with that it was a legitimate transaction and we were not facilitating money laundering? That's been one of the biggest concerns. I digress. Short answer, not yet. But who knows? Let's see what the future brings. Thank you for that question. Yeah, no WorldCoin. definitely no WorldCoin. Okay, awesome. Ndugire John. Hello, Mr. Ndugire John. Thank you for tuning in from Facebook. Your question is, do you offer slow payment options for investment? Yes, on occasion we do. We do not advertise them as a blanket offer to the market for many reasons. If you want to make a proposal for paying for land in installments or in a fashion that we haven't advertised or is not our typical way of receiving payments, nothing stops you from making a proposal, right? Send us your proposal. We'll consider it if it's commercially viable for us, because we have to collect funds in a specific pattern and within specific timeframes. Then we're happy to engage. So send us your comments if you like something that we have available and you want to propose a payment plan. Send it through. Happy to engage. Thank you for that question. All right. Murunga Imanya from TikTok. Murunga Imanya. Thank you for sending your question, Murunga, on Facebook or via Facebook on TikTok. Your question is, can you expound on green cards? Are they absolutely necessary as a safeguard? Where? Murunga.imanya. What's that? I had someone say there, Rekeguire. That's Kikuyu for let me tell you, right?
Yeah.
Rekeguire. Yes, green cards are not only necessary. You cannot have a title deed without a green card. And I explained this last week. I've done lots of videos about this. It's one of the reasons I said that the title deed is the most useless document in a land transaction, because there are way more important documents, such as, or beginning with, preeminently the most important one is the green card. The green card is what gives birth to a title deed. You cannot have a title deed exist unless there was first a green card. If you're ever dealing with a title deed that doesn't seem to be rooted in a green card at the registry, run. Okay? Run. You're dealing with absolute rubbish. Or as the Americans say, a giant nothing burger. I'll put it this way. When you're born, you're issued a birth certificate, or your parents get a birth certificate in your name. It'll state who you are, your assigned names, your gender, the date you were born, and who your parents are, or at least who one of your parents, at least your mother will be named. If there's no father, at least your mom will be named, okay? Birth certificate. Now, you grow up and you attain whatever age of adulthood, depending on where you live, and you can now, or in fact are required to obtain a national identification card. In order for you to get an ID anywhere in this world, you first need to prove your existence in that country, if you're a citizen of that country, by producing your birth certificate, right? Without a birth certificate, you can't get a national ID. Without a national ID, you can't open bank accounts, you can't purchase cars, you can't get a KRA PIN number, blah, blah, blah. You're basically locked out of all life transactions, okay? I hope I fit the picture. On one hand, you have the birth certificate. On the other, you have the ID, which is based on the birth certificate. And it's exactly the same with green cards. So the green card is what is issued when a file to a property is birthed or born. The moment a file is created for a property, whether it's being subdivided from a larger one, or it's a result of a combination of one or two or more properties, whatever the case may be, the moment that happens, a green card is created. Now, the title deed is then registered on the basis of the green card. That's why I said without the green card, a title deed cannot exist. It's like having a national ID without a birth certificate. That's a super suspect, illegal entity. It's not supposed to be possible. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that, okay? So beyond being a requirement, it is absolutely important. It's the first thing you should investigate. In fact, when you're doing a search on a property, one of the things besides the title deed is your identification documents, the reason for your search, blah, 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 application form. What they do at the registry is they go to the green card and put on the search certificate what it says as the latest entry on the green card. Okay, so even your search on the title refers to the green card. So without any doubt, without any debate, the green card is the most important document for all properties, not just land, all kinds of properties in Kenya. So make sure when you do a search, follow the steps we have outlined on our Grand Acres checklist, 9 steps to safe land buying. It's absolutely free. Be kind to yourself. Download the thing. You'll be fine. Okay? Thank you for the question. I saw one from Washu. What was Washu saying? Yes, don't do it. Kama hamna green card, don't. 100%, as Washu says. And like I've already told you, Washu knows what she's talking about because she's a land buyer, a very serious one. And she has experience with this. So make sure you follow the due process. No shortcuts. If it's not there, if there's no green card, misplaced green card, whatever the situation, run. Don't bother. It's not worth the risk. Okay. Brian Otieno. Hey, Brian. Thank you for tuning in. I see you're tuning in from YouTube. And you say, Niaje Solo, Niaje Brayo. Could you share the reason why you choose certain locations and the vision you see for such locations? Sure thing, Brian. I mean, again, I've shared this before, but just in summary, because I can talk about that for the next 2 weeks. There are basically 3 criteria we like to use at Goshen Acquisitions and Grand Acres. Number 1 is distance from our headquarters, which is Nairobi. We don't like to be further than 2.5 or 3 hour drive. Even 3 is long. 2.5 hour radius in terms of driving time. That's the zone we like to focus on. Okay, that's number 1. Anything outside of that, we don't even think about, unless it's a place where we can catch a flight to, like Eldoret, Kisumu, Mombasa, and the likes. Okay. In fact, in those instances, it's shorter. It's a 45-minute flight. Unless there's an airport that we can fly to, anything outside of 2.5 hour driving radius, not interested. Okay, that's criteria number 1. Criteria number 2 is impending developments immediately near the location. Okay, and they can be public developments like government roads, or government developments like Konza Techno City, or the Isiolo Tourism City, airports, dams, those types of things. Those are easy to understand. Or they could even be private developments like resorts by private developers, estates, and the like. Okay, that's criteria number 2. Impending developments, especially if we can buy before the developments are finished. Awesome. That's a sweet spot for us, because our value shoots up much more dramatically as the developments get completed, because those developments add value, intrinsic value, to the land and the properties around them. Very basic, right? That's why we like impending developments. It shortens the value growth curve depending on when you get it. Okay. Third and final criteria is unique geographic propositions. That means things that God created and built and put together before we existed, like water frontages at the coast, lake frontages, interior, cliffs. If you're situated on a cliff of the Rift Valley, like in Kijabe, overlooking the Rift Valley, mountain views, like our Nanyuki and Imbuko sites. When I talked about water frontages, we have an amazing property right on the waterfront at Lake Elementaita. We touch the water. One of our beacons gets kissed by the water in the heavy rainy season, when the water's edge comes a little bit closer because of all the rain. Beautiful, stunning views. Those are things that you can't manufacture as a human being. If you can, you need oil money, like the Arabs in Dubai. Okay. We like unique geographic propositions. Why? Because those will always guarantee the property's desirability to other human beings. So regardless of economic cycles and downturns and blah, 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 there's only so many waterfront properties on the planet. There's only so much land that has clear mountain views. There's only so much that might be located on a cliff. So there'll always be someone interested in that property. If you're watching us on Facebook, there's a video playing right now. That is right in front of our site at Lake Elementaita. That's what you view from our property. Flamingos, the pelican, and we call that property the Rustling Dawn. We have amazing acacia trees, indigenous acacia trees on the property, which are actually protected. Most people don't know this. Another reason we like unique geographic propositions Lake Elementaita and its immediate environs, where our land is situated, is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of the unique bird life that resides in that area because of the lake and the acacia trees. There's over 400 species of bird life at Lake Elementaita. Most Kenyans don't even know that. Very popular for bird watching and sightseeing. Lots of tourists come from Asia, Japan, Chinese. Tourists like to come to Lake Elementaita for the bird viewing. Of course, Lake Elementaita is breeding grounds to the lesser flamingo and the endangered pelican, which you can see in the video. It's one of the reasons it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, very important piece of the global ecosystem that supports this delicate life, wildlife, I should say. Okay, so it's also the smallest of our Great Lakes. So there's only so much water frontage there. I think I'm making the point, right? All those will make your property uniquely desirable. And the only thing, or I should say the most important driver of property value or valuation is human interest. The more people who desire your property, the higher your value is going to be. It all boils down to that. The more eyeballs, the more interest, the higher the value. The less the interest, the lower the value. And this is why these are the three main criteria that we like to use to choose our locations. And I think the vision for where we see each of these locations is self-explanatory. But thank you for that question, Brayo. That's awesome. It's now 7:52 p.m. We have 8 minutes left, so send in your questions fast and furious. Fabrizio Reyes from TikTok. Hi, Fabrizio. Your question is, can you buy land in Isiolo? We tried. It's been a while, I'll be honest. We tried in 2012 to buy land in Isiolo. It was virtually impossible because almost everything then, I don't know what the situation is now, so don't quote me about it now. We haven't scouted land in Isiolo since 2012, but what we found in Isiolo back then, because we were interested in buying around the tourism city, just like we did with our very first project in Konza. We purchased land just outside the buffer zone of the Konza Techno City, the Silicon Savannah of Africa, right? What we found is that a lot of the land is communally owned. There was virtually no property that had a title deed that we saw. Everything is owned by the community. It's communal land. In many cases, they're group ranches, single title deed for massive acreage, sort of supervised and overseen and managed by a small council of elders on behalf of the community. And as I've said before, if a property does not have a title deed to it, we don't touch it. I don't care how desirable or lucrative it might potentially be, it's too risky. It's not worth the hassle. So we gave up, and that's actually how we discovered Nanyuki. In 2012, going to scout for land in Isiolo, we had to drive through Nanyuki, and Nanyuki just blew our minds away. Mountain was out in her full glory, the crisp, clean air from the Aberdare ranges. You could see the Aberdare, the acacia savanna landscape leading up into Timao, where you have the most beautiful farmlands in this country. We were blown away. And as much as it was a no-go zone for us in Isiolo, we discovered Nanyuki, where we've been since 2012, bought and sold hundreds and hundreds of acres of land. And so it was a blessing for us anyway. But yes, this is my answer to you. Can you buy land in Isiolo today? I don't know. You'd have to go check. If there's no title deed, don't bother. Cool. Ahadi Group. I was wondering when Ahadi Group were going to say something. From IG, thanks guys for tuning in, as always. And your comment reads the following. Hi Solomon, have you ever considered opening an account here? That way, it will be easier to transfer funds because lately the bank keeps thinking I'm engaging in fraud. Plus the cameras I'm so sorry, Hadi group. And by the way, can I just say, you guys are the most awesomest. I know that's not an English word. You are the most awesomest land buyers we have had the pleasure of serving based in the diaspora, which is why, by the way, they're asking this question because they're based in Delaware. US, the group is made up of individuals who are all over the US. Amazing group of young Kenyans that we are so honored to be associated with. And they never skip a payment, man. Every month, boom, boom, boom. I can almost set the clock to when your funds come in. Uh, and thank you for being disciplined and uh, stick to itive in terms of making your payments. We've thought about it for many reasons. Half of our customers tend to be diaspora based, and it's a hassle sometimes for them to send funds over, doing the conversions from dollars to shillings and blah, blah, blah. The bank coolers some money in between, and then we have to ask our customers to top up. But then when they did their calculations, what they're sending, it was exact. It's just been a mess. So yes, we're looking into that. If it's possible, we certainly will, and we'll let you know for sure. But thank you for that question, and thank you for being faithful, guys. You guys are awesome. We're proud to be associated with you. Washu says, mimi zangu nataka kulipa kwa escrow. Not here. Good point, Washu. Yes, it's important to use the escrow account, especially if you're dealing with a party that you're not familiar with, that you haven't built trust with, that you haven't proven before. And even then, it's just good practice to use the escrow, especially if you're buying land before it has a title deed. Make sure at least some of your money goes into escrow, if not all of it. And this depends on what you can negotiate with the seller. Obviously, we prefer to receive funds directly for many different reasons. But if you're going to pre-buy something that does not have a title deed, make it a requirement to pay to escrow, majority of the funds at least. Okay? That way you're protected if anything goes south. And sometimes it's not even the seller's fault. It's things beyond anyone's control, like COVID shutdowns, law changes that prevents the title from coming out, corrupt officials at the registry who delay titles and you want to pull out, whatever the case may be. Or sometimes it's a seller's fault because they're just crooks and they're not up to anything good. You can pull out and your money is available to make you whole quicker without headaches and all the drama that comes along with chasing your money after the fact. So thank you, Washu, for reminding people to use escrow. It is step number what on our checklist? Tracy doesn't know. Okay. So yes, step number 8, use the escrow account. Okay. If you haven't done so yet, download a free copy of the Grand Acres Checklist, the 9 steps to safe land buying in Kenya. It's on our website, www.grandacres.co.ke. Again, www.grandacres.co.ke. And you'll be well on your way to happy and safe land investing in Kenya. We have time for one more? A quick one? Okay, we have 1 minute or a few seconds. Let's go. What's the next question? Wait, that was a long one. Alan Onditi. Was that Alan Onditi? Yeah, Alan Onditi. If land documents are burnt at your location at the district level in your area, where can one get the original map of land that one is looking for? Can someone get it from the main office at the Ministry of Lands? Awesome question, Alan. If that happens, first of all, presumably that's a government building. It's the government's responsibility to replace those maps, not yours. Okay? But in many cases, the Ruaraka office of the Department of Survey headquarters, not Ministry of Lands, Ardhi House, Ruaraka, Survey Department of Kenya headquarters. They will usually have an original copy of regional maps in general. Okay, so that's a great place to start. If for some reason they don't have it, they will know exactly how to coordinate with their local office at your location that got burnt down to get that map replaced. Okay, I hope that helps. And thank you for that question. And Boru, I see you have a very long question that I'm sorry we don't have time to answer, but please let us know how I can reach out and I'll answer your question directly, because it's now 1 minute past 8 p.m. and at Grand Acres we like to honor and keep time, because time is money and money buys land. We don't muck around with time, and we also respected your time. You took time out of your busy evening, exciting evening, to spend it with us for this 1 hour. And we're so grateful. What an honor, what a privilege. Thank you for allowing us to participate and for participating with us and having these live sessions. We truly enjoy it. I hope it's been valuable for you. If you know someone who would benefit from any of the information that came out from this Q&A session, send them the link. It's going to be posted because we record it and you can rewatch it. Love you guys. God bless and Grand Acres to you. Cheers.
Pretty boy Rasta live and direct. Shout out to all the loyal Wakurugenzi. With me is none other than the land connoisseur himself, Manati Villa Grady, Pedi wa Mashake. Shamba ya Karen unaiangalia kwa nini? Una window shop pizza na pesa ya madondo? Surely.
Surely, surely, surely. Let it stop black. For the Twitter black. Facebook, TikTok black.